Hi, welcome to today's episode of Cold Hearted Complaints Off Topic. Today we're going to be talking about A Series of Unfortunate Events Season 2, which recently debuted on Netflix. A Series of Unfortunate Events is a show based off of the popular children's series A Series of Unfortunate Events, which is a dark comedy for children, and it's amazing. You don't see many dark comedies for children, but this is something special. There was a lot to love about A Series of Unfortunate Events as a book series, and this TV show definitely knocks it out of the park. And Season 2 stays consistent with Season 1, which I absolutely love. You can see a video I did previously. I did the Cold Hearted Complaints on the Series of Unfortunate Events Season 1, and also I had on there a lot of thoughts about the Netflix system. Thoughts that I would redact these days. I don't feel as strongly positive as I did about Netflix as I did back then, and that was only like a year ago. Things change fast. So not everything in that video I stand by completely. I do stand by my opinion on A Series of Unfortunate Events. The TV show is amazing. Season 2 is just as good. They really stay on that tone in Season 1 that made A Series of Unfortunate Events such a fun show. It's a show that has a lot of whimsy, has a lot of wit, has a very dry sense to it at times, but it can be very, very funny. It's a dark comedy TV show, but it can also have a lot of moments of just being ridiculous. The show was very faithful to the books, and the books always felt like they had a lot to say, and the show picks that stuff up and runs with it. The acting in it is phenomenal. There's a lot of great characters in here. There's a lot of great actors in here, and it's a show that I completely enjoyed watching from beginning to end. I could not wait to get through it. I binged through this. It's a very great TV show. Now, if you're unfamiliar with The Series of Unfortunate Events as a TV show, what they do is they take each book of A Series of Unfortunate Events and split it into 2 episodes. Episodes are typically about, they can range from 30 to 50 minutes. Typically, they're no longer than an hour. I know some episodes are about 30 minutes. Other episodes are about 50 minutes, closer to an hour. So they range a lot, which is something I do still like about Netflix, is that episodes don't ever feel like they're crammed into an hour. They have to pad themselves out to be that long. They feel like they have enough time to conclude their story and not pad it in, but hey, we're not going to get into Netflix today. The show itself has a lot of fun moments, a lot of great wordplay that they use in there, which is always a hallmark of the book. Patrick Warburton returns as the narrator, Lemony Snicket, and he absolutely knocks it out of the park again. I love him in this role. He's kind of like a Rod Serling from The Twilight Zone, if you know The Twilight Zone, which I absolutely love. He's always there in the background, is always talking directly to you, and it always gives this great feel, right? A feel you don't get a lot from TV shows these days. It takes you back and makes it feel a little more classic. Part of it kind of feels like a stage play sometimes. I can't really put my finger on exactly why, but I can get this kind of stage play vibe from it, where there's a lot of playing to the audience and a lot of things that I could feel like in a stage play would be really great. Again, really love him. Neil Patrick Harris as Count Olaf is amazing as well. I've seen people who aren't as into his portrayal of Count Olaf. I've seen some people pull more towards the Jim Carrey version of a Count Olaf that was over the top, that was crazy, that was ridiculous, that was just hammy in all these kind of ways, and that was a portrayal of it. It never really felt like the character. It felt like it was more Jim Carrey doing what Jim Carrey does, and people enjoying that in the guise of Count Olaf, but it never felt like the character Count Olaf. Neil Patrick Harris's Count Olaf has a lot more menace to him. He has a lot more grace played to him. He also feels more relatable in ways. He's completely evil and you don't like him, but you can understand him more. He's a more relatable villain. He's not completely cartoonish, even though he is supposed to be a cartoonish villain, and he plays that part off really well. He just feels like he has other layers to him and other sides to him. Even if they don't explore that super much, it's still hinted at and there, and that's something really nice to see. Outside of that, the Baudelaire orphans, the actors who portray them, do a really good job. They do their role perfectly, and they fit this story, and nothing's distracting about their performances. There was also a new addition to the cast. So they brought in Nathan Fillion to play as Jacques Snicket, and he does an amazing performance. Also, if you are a fan of Dr. Horrible's sing-along blog, then you're gonna love that Captain Hammer and Dr. Horrible going at it once again. He kind of plays Jacques Snicket more like a strapping hero man from a 1920s, 1930s early film era. He's a swashbuckling adventurer who's out for justice and to do the right thing. and he has a great chin. One of the things I always appreciate about a series of unfortunate events is the wordplay. The wordplay is still played up a lot in this series. One of the recurring gags in the books that I really enjoyed was someone would say a very complicated word and then say, which in this sense means blah, 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 blah. And that gag has continued onto the show, which I really enjoy. They play up on it a lot. There's a lot of wordplay and a lot of stuff that adds to the feeling of the world, adds to this wit, adds to this feel, adds to this whimsy of the world. The world of a series of unfortunate events feels really fleshed out in this series, and I greatly enjoy how their world is built up and built out. You get a great feel for the environment, for how people act, for the way things move and how they move and how jokes are told and how they're executed. And the sets, the designs, the costumes, everything works in perfectly with that. Costumes are great in this show, I gotta say. The costume designs, the choices, the way people play in those costumes. In a series with a lot of disguises, they play a really important role in the story of a series of unfortunate events, and this show does that really well. The costume designs are spot on. I love the sets and I love the overall design they went with. This feel and the idea of this world feels very real, and it immerses you in the story a lot. It is a great design. Design in this show feels like a very stressed point, and they pull it off excellently. If you're a lover of the books, you're going to want to watch this series. I highly recommend it. If you haven't already started watching it, I highly recommend season 2 if you like season 1. They stay consistent with the jokes, the comedy, everything feels like they never stopped. Very consistent tone, pace, acting, everything feels consistent, which in TV shows can always be a bit of a scare. Sometimes they can lean a bit too much into what they think worked, and they can get lost in those kind of things. I don't feel like they do that here. I feel like they still have a consistent view of what they should do with the show. It works really well. I will say, as just a bit of an aside, is that I don't feel like some of the musical scenes were as amazing. They're not bad. Some of them are pretty good, but some of them are okay. They feel like a little bit of filler. I know what they're trying to do with them. Neil Patrick Harris loves to sing. He loves to do big show things, and those can be fun. They're a bit too much sometimes. It's a nitpick, but it's there, so I might as well bring it up. There's a lot of things they add to the show that I actually really enjoy. There's a lot of things in this show that were not in the books. They add a lot of things with VFD. They add a lot of other characters that are involved in the secret societies around them. And they have these whole side characters and side plots that are going on, which I feel are necessary, especially for a show. The books can be very focused on the Baudelaire orphans, but a show feels like it needs to have a little more going on. If it was just the orphans, it, 1, wouldn't be that long, and 2, wouldn't be as interesting. So they add in a little bit more of the world, flesh it out a bit more without ruining the mystery. I feel like they give you a bit more just to feel like something's happening in this world and people are trying to help them. It's a very refreshing feeling. They have a lot of great recurring gags in this show as well. One of my favorite recurring gags is the newspaper boy. Whenever some characters are having a meeting, they're talking about something, newspaper will get thrown to them when they need some information. And then they look and they see the newspaper boy, and he's just doing some BMX tricks to get out of there. Because they're like in the middle of a bank, and he just jumps on a desk and like bicycles out. Or they're in the middle of nowhere, and he just does some crazy BMX tricks and just goes away. It's silly, but that's one of those things that you just gotta love about a series of unfortunate events. It has its own brand of humor that I really enjoy. It doesn't take itself too seriously, which makes the dark, grimness of a series of unfortunate events, because it's a show about a series of unfortunate events that continues to happen and how miserable the lives of the Baudelaire orphans are. But it keeps a levity to it and keeps a fresh funness to it where you don't feel too dragged down by the sadness. Overall, I'm going to wrap this up by saying it's a great series. If you love season 1, you're going to love season 2. Give it a shot. If you love the books and haven't seen the show yet, start from season 1. Get watching, because I really love this show and I highly recommend it. If you, like me, were disappointed by the series of unfortunate events movie, didn't feel like it delved too deep, didn't feel like it did enough to really bring out the world of a series of unfortunate events, this show is exactly what you need. If you've never interacted with a series of unfortunate events at all, if you like Wes Anderson, if you like dark comedy, and if you like Neil Patrick Harris a lot, then you're going to love this show. So those are 3 great things. So go give it a shot. It's a great series. It's on Netflix. I gotta do reviews for shows that aren't on Netflix eventually. So thank you very much for watching this video. You can like, comment, and subscribe if you want to see more of these kind of videos. Or if you want to see other things from me, you can check the videos that are coming up on the end screen here. I did a recent video on the luck of the Irish, the DCOM, about a boy who finds out he's Irish. And also a leprechaun, apparently, who plays basketball. So that's a very good video. I'm proud of it. I'm not proud of my videos a whole bunch because I have self-confidence issues. But the luck of the Irish, I think, was a good video. So hey, it's gonna be on the end screen. You should check it out. Thank you very much for watching this video. Have a nice night, day, or whatever the hell it is, wherever you are, whenever you're watching this. See ya.